Well, good evening, everyone. Lee is feeling a little bit under the weather today, so he won't be here tonight unless he shows up in the chat, but he won't be on the stream. And Tom, good old Tom right there, click the link. So how's it going, Tom?
Everything's going great.
So what's going on with your colonies? You were telling me a little bit, but we got to let everybody else know.
What I do is I put a 1.5 or 1 3/4 inch shim on top of every box. Then I put, with Avis Biologics, I put sugar bricks in that I make. They're each 3 to 3.5 pounds, so 6-7 pounds of sugar. And then I put one of those tablets in.
So you put the tablets. How are you?
Yeah. I'm
curious to see what the results are like in a. So it should start getting cold there really quickly, right?
Right. We hit a light frost this morning, and usually it freezes another week to 2 weeks. So I got 2 more hives to do. And then I put a R6 insulation board on top instead of an inner cover, and then I put the lid back on. That's my winter setup.
So how often will you go back and be able to go back to check the sugar bricks and all?
Basically, I hope to one time in January, or if not February. Typically
once you wrap it, you're
February.
done. I mean, it's done till the next warm day that you can go out there or feel like popping them open, right?
I could go out there now. I mean, the next month there'd be plenty of warm days, but there's no need. I know they got plenty for now.
Right.
So
let's see. I want top place one of those pucks in the sugar. Well, the whole idea of the tablet is that you need them to consume it, right? I mean, that's the whole deal. They've got to eat it. So with no, I am not. Nope, no Hive Alive fondant. I do have a code.
I am. Bob, I do plan to go in about 3 weeks and see if they're eating the tablet or if they're eating the sugar bricks. Well, I don't know.
I imagine they'll eat on the tablet, but I mean, sugar is sugar, right? And tablet's got sugar in it, but it's not all sugar, so could be hard to tell. But you've already done your mite treatments and all of that, right? So anything else that just happens to drop off of the next month, that's just an added benefit.
Right. That's the way I'm looking at it.
And
I'll probably do an oxalic acid vapor around Christmas time.
oh, look at this. Look at this. Vincent ordered some. He said he did a mite wash on a hive and it was 30. He put in an appy tablet, and 8 days later, the mite count on the sticky board was 2,249.
Holy moly! Holy moly!
That's a lot of mites. That is a lot of mites. I'm wondering let's figure a percentage up. We can't even figure a percentage up, right? So 30, what is somebody do the math and tell me what a 30 wash is on the current guidelines, right? What percent of the colony?
It'd be like 90 times 80. Yeah, that's a heck of a lot of mites.
And yeah, that's insane. Yeah, dead mites are good. 1 or 100. I think it's excellent. So the 1 mite per 10 bees that's what at 300 bees.
Yeah.
So 1 mite. I don't have the calculator.
I got a feeling a lot of people are going to find out 1%, 2% of a mite wash
is wrong.
Is going to be still 100 to 200 mites.
Oh, I think it's more.
In the hive.
I'll give you an idea. So Randy Klingen came on here and said he shook a 0. Right? He shook a 0 and put a tablet in, and a few days later he had 20 mites in the bottom. So what's a 0?
Right.
You know, what is a 0 shake? What percent is a 0 shake? People would maybe not even treat that colony, right?
Correct.
So that's 30 mites is a 10% infestation.
Yeah.
So that's so that means if he got 2,000 mite drop, that he could have 200,000 mites in it, or 200,000 bees in the colony. Is that what we're kind of figuring? Yeah, see, that's what you don't know. So that's my whole thing with the shake test, right? It's the best we have. It's all we have, right? So I mean, it's what we got. But
it's our gauge.
It's not very accurate. It's not a very accurate assessment of what's really going on.
No, and some people say we shouldn't even be taking nurse bees. We should be taking drones.
Look at this. So it took him 2 hours to count the mites, and he's sure he missed some. I bet they were probably everywhere. Did you put them on a paper towel or something? Just stack them up and write 2,000 some. 2023 was 20. He had more than 1 mite per bee. Holy Moses. That's hey guys, I didn't make the tablet. I don't know all the special sauces in it. All I know is what you guys see I put on, right? So as far as testing, as far as the clinical test and everything, right now, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are the clinical test, right? You guys are doing the shakes and testing, and you guys are seeing the same things I'm seeing. And you know, that's not a bad mite drop for a supplement. I mean, and I say that because we all know that it's the thymol that everybody says kills the mites, right? And there's other products that have thymol in it, but nobody ever says that they drop mites. So, but when you say that, all of a sudden everybody wants all this historical data since the temples were
not approved.
Yeah, it's not approved, but I'm gonna go use my 4 grams of oxalic acid per box because I'm just gonna do it. You know, that's.
I'm not a big fan of following somebody else that tells me that I can't do something. If I think it's good for the bees and I can show that it's good for the bees, I'm doing it.
All right, so let me give you Vincent's story here. The reason he had that shake was the state inspector had come to his yard and they tested, and it washed a 30. So that's when he ordered some tablets. And yeah, the other oils are good for him too. Yeah, see, Vincent says he's impressed with it. Guys, I'm just hearing these stories. I don't hear them unless you guys tell them to me. So that's pretty impressive. I wish you would have videotaped it, and if you did, send it to me because I'll make a video out of it.
Right. Well, I'll know next spring, next February how they're doing.
Well, if they come out, are you gonna do a mite test as soon as they come out of like right at the beginning?
That's what I'm planning on doing. Probably like the end of February. We should get some 60-degree days, third week of February, around that time frame.
Right.
So I'll test 3 or 4 hives, see where
Yeah.
they're at.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm interested in your situation because your situation there would be a lot like it would be in Canada, right? So, and when I say that, it's because it's cold. The bees are holed up most of the winter, and
Right.
if you put them in there before putting them into winter, and then see what comes out.
That's the plan.
See, we've had look, Philip's putting bee math out there now. He must have been broodless if only 20% were phoretic. That one mite per that's 1 mite per 2.5 bees. So this is a case in point. What we're talking about here, we've got 46 beekeepers watching, and nobody can agree on the freaking math to determine how many mites are even in the colony. So I'm not calling anybody out, but if you guys, who I know are good beekeepers over here in the chat, can't agree on what the number is, then what about all the other beekeepers who don't even keep up with stuff? You see, so when you're doing shakes and you're saying, I want a clinical study and a clinical test, nobody can even, when we know we got to shake and get a number, we can't even determine what that shake means.
Right.
How many times do we get questions on how to make 1-to-1 sugar syrup or 2-to-1 sugar syrup? I mean, so all of a sudden, everybody wants scientific clinical studies on a product that they can't even read the damn study. They don't know what the study means.
And if you got 6 people, 6 people will shake that shaker differently.
Yeah.
And actually, each time, one day I shake it, the next day I shake it, I'll shake it differently.
Right.
So there's nothing scientific about even the shake.
Well, I mean, the good thing is as far as that system is he knew he had mites and he had a lot of them. He had more than he had on other colonies. That was a bad colony. So you can kind of disseminate that, right? And there is a calculation that they say to use. So I'm not totally trashing. It's the only thing we got. So that's what we're running with, right? But at the same time, the science is that's not a very accurate science. You might just get a cluster of bees that just don't happen to have any mites in that one section, or maybe very few. And then you could go to another frame and it'd be loaded down, so it's just kind of crazy. But I mean, that's the thing, is that everybody clamors for, I need to have scientific documentation. You can't even read the damn scientific documentation. Matter of fact, it's so bad that you have to rely on whoever printed it to tell you what he was actually saying, so you can jump on that bandwagon, so that's
last year I did a little bit of checking around some of the universities, and I asked them, I said, did you have drones in your tests of your hives? And they all came back and said no. How can you even be doing a mite test? You don't even have drones in your test lab. And everybody knows mites prefer drone cells over any other cells.
right.
So I pretty much throw all those scientific tests are out the window, because they didn't have a typical colony.
Yeah, I mean,
they have bees and a queen, worker bees, nurse bees, and probably not even a queen half the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not designed for mites, but it surely works great. It's killing them, and that's good enough for me as well. Because if I had 10 mites in there, and it killed 5 of them. Well, guess what? Now I only got 5 mites. It's easy
Right.
math for me. If I put them in there and
Right.
mites die, and it helps my bees with the essential oils and everything, I'm good. I don't need any high paid scientists to refute it, or say it's good or say it's not. All I'm showing is what happened to my colony, and evidently the same thing happened up there in his colonies. So yeah, that's what he said. The Appy tablet kicks.
Philip Morris had a good point.
All right, so let's see. Even with, I got to blow it up because I can't read it that good over there. Even with 30,000 bees and no brood, that is 1 mite per 13 bees. That's 8%. That's pretty close to his 10% wash. I'd say the Appy tablet kicks some mite butt. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, guys.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about it. It's not even a mite treatment. It's not designed for that. That's like a happy side effect, So, take it for what it's worth. I mean, again, they're your bees. Do what you want to do. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. It don't matter to me. I'm just showing people what happened with my bees. So it's good. Good. So guys, it's me and Tom. I know Todd's riding home, so he'll probably come, but the link's right there. You can come join us.
Maybe Mark will get back on.
Philip, get in here.
Yeah.
Somebody get in here. Chris, get in here. Somebody. So my company counter offered me. I actually had put in a notice last week. And they counter offered me. So I took them up on their counter offer. So I'm going from 5 days a week to 3 days a week.
Well, that's good.
I'm going to a hourly and a commission as compared to draw versus commission. And that's going to give me time to do what I have to do and, help out around here, maybe get my apiary cleaned up, get that stuff done. So
I'm hoping 1st of June next year, I'm going to go down to 3 days a week.
Mike, I see your nose down.
Pre-retirement.
Oh, I thought you had a big wrapper chain on there for a second. I didn't know you had. I thought you had a Mercedes emblem or something at the end of that V-neck.
No, I've got. I'm actually out in my shop here trying to turn my heater on.
You know what? I'm really digging the new Mike. Now it's like on location with Mike in Minnesota, because one day you're out on your carport and you've got all the bee boxes behind you. The next day you're in the wood shop with the wood shop behind you. The 4th day you're by a fire with a.
I'm missing the fireplace, Bobby. I'm missing the fireplace. So I'm trying to get this thing going. Actually, what I'd love to do is to join you guys sometime from Vince's mill, and that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, so don't light a cigarette. Now I want one.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, Mike, I guess in a couple months you're going to have to get on when you're doing some ice fishing out on one of the lakes.
Ooh,
live from the shanty with Mike in Minnesota.
That would be really kind of fun, but I'd have to, Tom, I'd have to actually bring one of the nukes out there just to make it applicable. Here's a walleye. Here's a nuke.
There you go.
And now we're going to nuke the walleyes.
You can use the hive as a seed.
You could just take a deep box and take a slab of ice and put it on the bottom so you have something to set your beer on to keep it cold.
You think you need to do that when you're ice fishing?
Well, no, but you want
to. On a funny note, that is a good one, but I was working at Corporate Pillsbury, my crew was there, and I announced that if one of you guys did this, and the other thing, I will personally buy you an ice fishing trip to the Bahamas. And the kids didn't get it.
There's no ice in the Bahamas.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
It's like, actually though, parrot fishing down in Panama, the parrot bass, you dig a hole in the bog and you fish under the bog. I'd like to do that sometime. That would be really kind of fun. But that's the only thing I'm afraid of on a lake is going through a bog, because you go through a bog, and I've done that before. You really can't find your way back up. So,
Right.
but anyways, everybody that's watching, I can't see the comments, so I apologize. So Bob, if you see something directed or whatever, let me know there. But yeah, I was listening to the mite counts, and you kind of railing against, folks. So you can't even figure out what the numbers are. You need scientific proof. Well, you know something? That's exactly how they built the Saturn V rocket. Yeah, I had to shut you the hell up on that one.
I was just picking out a point, right?
Oh, yeah.
Most people, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really do mite shakes. I didn't do mite shakes before. I just never have, right? But the thing is that most people don't know how to read a scientific study either. So it's one of those things that we rely on the people that did the study to explain the study, right?
Yeah. It gets even more interesting once you start working in stratified stats and whatnot. Russell Koopman is probably one of the better statisticians of all the beekeepers that we have here. But
what are the constants? What's the subject? What's the theory?
What kind of test
prove or disprove?
How long was the test? What were the parameters?
Right.
What geographical location were they tested in?
Right.
There's all kinds of things that could make a test.
And were you drinking at the time?
Variables, the whole 9 yards.
Variables. Were there outside stressors?
Yeah.
All kinds of. What you doing, Mike?
I'm holding the pilot button down on my heater out here. I've got a long hose, and it takes a while for the propane to get through.
What's the temperatures like up there right now?
Okay, so this morning, right now, I think we're not bad at all. I think we're like 40. This morning on my side of the lake, it was 39. 2 blocks away, it was 36, and Russell out in western Minnesota was 31, I think he said. So winter's coming.
Yeah.
So I had to share something with you guys that I did really stupid. I went out and mixed some, literally 3-to-1. That took a while of doing, but got it done. But I mixed it all up without checking to see how much syrup the bees had actually been taking, how much was left.
Right.
And and then on top of it, I thought there was a leak on my syrup bucket. Yeah, it turns out I was right. And rather than repair it, and really track down where the leak was, I did a visual inspection. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. So I had syrup all over my kitchen counter here at the cabin, and almost. So it was just one of those things that, you scratch your head and go, hey, that's a test. Now I know how stupid I am.
Look, he's poking a stick in my eye, guys.
Pretty much.
His big blue, and I got the go green over here.
Yeah. Kind of fun. But
you got my hat on for you, Bob.
I wear this because I worked there.
There we go.
I did that because I lived there.
Who's that? Oh, Chris.
I lived there as well. There's Todd. Hey, Todd.
And Todd too. Wonderful.
You gotta get your sport memorabilia, young guys.
No. What's the hat, Chris?
Michigan as well.
Michigan. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses
Not
on.
Minnesota.
It would be Minnesota.
Wrong colors.
Yeah, but these don't run.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, the way the Gophers are playing, it could be a yellow stripe. So, who knows? What's
Golden Gophers?
No, actually, I went to the U. A lot of my family did, but when the Gophers decided to do pay-per-view for the football team, I'm like, I'm already paying for the school kids. You see my tax dollars. I kind of gave up on them, but anyways, that's just another diatribe. So you're not selling the Hive Life fondant?
No, I don't sell it.
Yeah. I figured you would have mentioned it, but I had to ask anyways. So.
And I don't have anything against it. I've never tried it. The only thing I ever said about Hive Alive was that for the cost of the Hive Alive liquid, the Apis Biologics, you get more end syrup usage out of the same amount of money.
Well, you really don't need it there per se. You know, if I've got my, hive locked up here, so, but, speaking of which, we've got a couple hives that we need to move on to a 4-way pallet. All I got to say is, thank goodness I've got young, strong neighbors. So
yeah, moving. Well, I'm going to have to move here soon too. So Mite is coming here day after tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's Big Bob. I'm going to bring you some things down on my way to Florida. So, okay. So
wonderful.
And I'm going to the Mississippi State Beekeepers Association meeting. And I'm taking tablets and whatever else.
Neat.
He's bringing me some of those gloves, so I'll probably be adding those to the website.
What gloves are those?
Myrtle Beach, huh?
Well, it's funny with the Myrtle Beach. I put my notice in last week, and they're like, "Nope, not so fast, Kimasabi. We got a counter offer you." So they gave me a counter offer. So I asked them today, so what does that do for me on Friday? Well, when you put your notice in, they canceled your dinner reservation. I'm like, fine, no problem. But I'll still get my watch and still get whatever else. But
hey, sweetie.
So yeah, they moved me to 3 days a week, and instead of straight commission, I'm getting hourly wage plus 10%.
Okay,
there you go. Can't beat that.
No, and since we're looking at about a 6-month window with my mom, that gives me extra time here, and I still have an income coming in, and I can be a little bit flexible. So worked out. I did so our state fair's in town, right?
Oh,
I did a carny trailer treatment today.
What?
It's so when they come into town, they stay in these RVs and stuff, right?
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, I thought you were talking about mites or. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought it was a joke.
No, so basically, what it is is a cattle car that they've divided into 7 separate bunks, and I thought I was back on the Navy ship for a second, because literally it was like treating a porta-john. You'd walk in, I could do half of it, and then I had to do an about face right in spot and do the other half and then walk out. So I'll show you. I'm going to show you a picture of what this thing looks like.
What's up, Phil?
Hey. So quick report here, a runaround. What's there?
You just dropped out, Mike.
You dropped out, Michael.
Yeah, sorry. I'm right on the fringe of my Wi-Fi here. In fact, I don't know if I'll be able to stay on, but damn it, is what it is. Yeah, never mind.
What were you going to ask about us?
What? I was going to ask who else shades their legs. No, what's your temperature? Oh, wow. Oh, that's what they did. That's interesting.
And that's how small it is on the inside. Does that remind you of a Navy berthing there, Chris?
Those are actually smaller.
Yeah, it is. It's double bunk beds, but
yeah,
microwave. I mean, literally my shoulders on the wall and my other shoulders on the other against the bunks and everything. So
hey, sweetie.
Treated half, spun around, treated the other half, and was out of there.
Your head was probably hitting the ceiling.
I had a little bit of room, but not much. But that's one of those interesting.
Did they have bed bugs or did they have roaches?
Bed bugs.
Fun.
Wow. Hey, speaking of treatments, Robert came on, was asking about the small larvae and so on last night.
Looks like beetle larvae to me.
Mm-hmm. And I know Fred had mentioned that spraying them with bleach, and I had several hives that had a lot of fecal matter over the winter. So I took all the frames and scraped the frames out or whatever. But what I did was I took all the frames and I soaked them all out in this tub of white vinegar here. It's empty now, but it's just I leave them in there for several hours just so it could penetrate down, possibly kill the spores. I have no idea if it's going to work, but yeah, that vinegar will kill mold. And if Fred's saying using bleach, I put bleach in my syrup here, not that much of it, but we're doing that. Oh, so
Enjoy.
you get a full crew here.
That looks like beetle larvae to me. Anybody else? That looks
Yeah,
like
I agree, Bob. Looks like
Yeah.
small hive beetles.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
hive beetle.
Is it on honey? Is that nectar or
Well,
honey?
this was on a comb that was extracted out, right? It was a wet comb.
That's probably
Okay.
That's why I always I've talked to Brad. I'm like, I can't leave my like he does for a week in his pallet in his room. I can't do that. I got to pull, extract. I can't just leave it sit in there because if there's any beetles in those frames,
Yeah.
by the time you come back to extract, they've just had a buffet. Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, guys,
I was saying,
real quickly.
everybody over.
You guys, I ran into something interesting going through my 37 hives this past 2 weeks. I've probably seen 5 or 6 small hive beetles on all my hives, except one. Got in one hive that was a swarm that I caught this year, and I think it had at least 100 of them. And it was still a good size hive. I mean, it still probably had 20,000 bees in it, but it had hive beetles everywhere. And I go, wow, why does this one hive have all these hive beetles and the other 6 have basically none, or maybe one? So
Probably not as
I
aggressive bees.
marked that queen in my notes. I think next year I'm going to replace her, and then see
Well,
if
they
that
may not
queen
have had time
does
to
the same
build up
thing.
from the swarm. Maybe they didn't
What's
have
that?
time to get. Maybe they did not have time to get strong enough before the beetles started coming.
Yeah,
then
maybe.
Next thing you know, they're trying to fight off the battle with the beetles, and
Probably about mid to late May swarm, because it was one of my last hives. It's one of my resource hives, so I don't care about it too much. If it makes it through winter, great. I'll pinch the queen and give it a new one.
Or you can just get an oil-based bottom board and get rid of your beetles.
yeah, the most I've seen in there since I put those on is like 3. I mean, and I don't even worry about the 3 because I know it's just a matter of time before those bees tackle them down to the ground, and then they go through the bottom and they're done.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I don't even waste time trying to pluck them out of there.
Well, they had all these beetles trapped up in the corner of the top of the hive, so I got to smash maybe 30% of them.
you got to
the
play
hive
whack
tool.
beetle.
Yeah, whack the beetles.
It's all fun and games until you lose a hive. And so,
Yeah.
see what I did there? Fun. Just kidding. Am I the only one? Only one that got that? I know Joseph got that. Where you
That's
at,
the hive I
Joey?
need to go back
I'm sorry,
check
what?
in a couple weeks.
Where you at tonight?
He's in the honey house.
Yeah.
See,
I come
he's
in the
another
honey
one
house
like
and I got to
on
looking around.
location
This
with
place is a
Joseph Rawls.
clutter. What's that?
Like on location with Joseph Rawls. Every week
Yeah.
in a different location.
I guess I should have got this away, like Cayman, and get it set up by my bottling tank or something.
Little background fodder there. What you been up to, Joseph?
Well, today I went to 2 different funerals, but other than that, I've been in beehives.
No, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
Sorry to hear about that.
Well, the 2 I went to, they were in their 90s, and they lived a good long life, so we just celebrated it.
Wonderful.
Really good.
Mm.
Todd, what's going on in your
Well,
world over
one
there?
thing, we got a pretty decent goldenrod flow going on around here.
Ah, that's good.
Ours
They
kind
voted
of
me.
off.
Good. Ours is about finished. And it's just getting pretty dark yellow.
They may
Wow.
not
Hey,
last
Doug,
as
what's up
long
with
as
you?
Well, I've got something to say tonight.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Could someone mute their mic?
With
Mute
Mike.
their mic. It's whoever's making noise. I need you to mute it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. Actually, I've got a bunch of stuff to do here, so guys, I'm gonna shut up. I might join you later on, but I'll be on in the background here. I don't want to interrupt you guys. So
You
Thanks,
could just
Mike.
mute. You could just mute it, Mike. I'm just saying it was kind of hard to hear.
oh yeah, no, it's actually there's something. I'm gonna go and sit on the porch here and just stop for a second there. I'll try not to make any. Sorry about that. I was actually just turning the timer on my laundry machine.
Oh,
Really fun to listen to. Oh,
Mute your
So-
mic, Katie.
All right, what you
all
got?
right.
You
So,
sound super serious tonight.
so going back to what Vincent said, he had 30 mites from the inspector, right?
Yes.
So if you do that in a a mite wash is generally half a cup or around 300 bees. You just assume it's 300 bees. So that's 10%. So let's just assume that he had a mite wash that he did not necessarily on that colony, but he did it on another colony, and he washed out, what was it, 2,249?
Uh,
Oh, that's what came on. That was the drop. Yeah, when you use
Oh,
that.
I know, but let's just say when he did a mite wash, he got 2,249. It dropped off the bees. Same thing as it would drop on the bottom board. That's a 749% mite infestation. Okay? Now, listen to me, Philip. Let's get to something more important.
I'll give you a little more rope.
I'm kind of getting a little irritated, and I hope I'm not coming out mad at the risk of doing this with my 107 subscribers on my channel. I'm going to do it anyway. So there's people talking about, well, where's the scientific study for this and that? All right. I was in pharmaceutical sales for over 20 years. I sold drugs to doctors using scientific studies. I had to know the scientific study backwards and forwards. I use that only because it's proof. And I get it with people that say, I want to see a scientific study. A lot of doctors want to see scientific studies on the medicines you sell so that they can be better informed when they see a patient that needs a medicine like that. I totally get the people on our side of the fence that say, I want to see a scientific study on how this product works. Cool. All right. But then also know this. When you go to your doctor, and there's a lot of doctors that do this too. I sold a neurological drug for many, many years. It was a seizure drug, but it so happened to stop migraines. It was not approved or indicated for migraines, but there's this thing called off-label use, which everybody in the bee industry also knows. Doctors will try anything that they can, whether it's scientific or anecdotal information. Anecdotal information means something that's information that has not been scientifically proven. But a doctor will go to a patient and say, look, you have migraines. These other migraine meds aren't helping you. I heard this from Dr. Smith, who I went to medical school with, using this drug for migraines, and his patients reporting to him that they're seeing fewer migraines. Please hang with me for a minute. So you have scientific evidence and you have anecdotal evidence. What's going on right now currently? I drove home with white knuckles because I was sick of hearing all this, and I know you guys didn't do it on purpose. But let's be honest, guys, come on. If you are watching these videos, well, first of all, wait, back up. If you go to the doctor, do you want the doctor to tell you, well, there's a drug that they're studying right now, but I'm not going to give it to anybody because the evidence isn't out, even though he knows that his Dr. Smith buddy is trying something else out that's working. He's waiting for the scientific evidence on this one med to give to you if it works, if it's proven in science. But it's already been proven anecdotally by his close comrade. So here we are on the B side. The same thing's happening. If you're a patient, you don't want to hear that from your doctor. You're going to tell your doctor, doctor, I want that medicine. Just give it to me. I don't care if it's been proven scientifically or not. If it's working with some people, I want to try it. So what's happening now? Oh, people are poo-pooing these tablets because, oh, it's not scientifically proven yet. There's no study on it. There's a whole bunch of medicine in this world that people don't realize have been given to patients because of anecdotal evidence. And there's still, if they did a study right now on aspirin, it would be taken off the market because of the side effects. That's how bad it is. But guess what? It works. So if you want to be a beekeeper that's waiting and waiting and waiting for some scientific evidence to come back from product A or product Z, but in the meantime, you're using a product that may or may not kill a bunch of mites, but this other one anecdotally is just dropping tons of mites, then you're going to lose bees. I think in the bee world, we want to do something about killing mites, whether we have scientific evidence or not. So what is the big deal of trying something out? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, great. All right, we went there. We tried it. We'll go back to the originals that are working, but not as good as what we thought this product would work. So, I mean, it's up to you guys. But when you start saying, oh, we got to have scientific evidence, BS. Give me a break. You're going to sit there and watch bees die because the product you're using is only 50% efficacious, but it's approved and you're going to use it and you're going to wait 2 years. By the way, it would probably take him that 2 years to get this done because he has to do studies.
And lots of money.
And lots of money. And then time to publish the article. Right when you're done with the article, when you're done with the studies, it doesn't get published for months and months, sometimes years.
Hey, I'm going to ask you
Well,
a
I'm not
question.
done yet, Philip. I'm not done because after this, I got to drop the mic and I got to go cook.
No, you got to hear me out. You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir. None of us say that.
Write down, choir. I'm serious. I'm so sick and
That's what
tired
we
of
said,
this.
Todd, though.
I'm so sick and tired of this. If people would just realize that,
What
hey,
people?
Philip, you're going to make me lose my train of thought, okay? I'm deadly serious, all right?
Finish.
So if you're one of those people that just has to wait on a scientific study, God bless you, all right? Just do it. But if you're someone who wants to help bees, you want to keep bees alive, you don't want the expense, the added expense of next spring buying more bees or raising more bees, there's a lot of equipment that's involved in this. If you don't want to go through all that expense, take the little leap and try something yourself. If you see it work, are you going to wait for a scientific study? Not me. I mean, if I see it working, I'm going to do it.
Well put.
Well put. Good
That's
job.
all I got to say. I got to go. I got to
Drop
go.
the mic.
I'll be back later as soon as I'm done eating. I'm out.
God.
All right, Todd. Todd's great, man.
God bless him.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to tell him that's why they call it practicing medicine.
right. Practice. Well,
In the medical world,
he's
it's
got a
called a
point.
practice.
My doctor gives me aspirin, right, for my heart, but it's not designed for heart. Bare aspirin is not designed for heart, right? You can buy it over the counters for headaches and other things, but they use it for your heart as well. So, yeah, it is. I mean, he definitely has a point that I can understand that, like doctor to doctor, right? You want to know what you're putting out there, and but let's face it, we ain't doctors. Hell, half of us are. I mean, you can watch it. How many times do even Jason at Bohemia Bees kind of has a joke about it? How do you make 1-to-1 sugar water? Because that kind of question is asked all the time. a lot of people can't even figure out how to make 1-to-1 sugar water, but they want to study on a mite treatment, or and this isn't even a mite treatment. That's the whole thing. So it's
I
I don't know
honestly,
how many people measure their 1-to-1 too.
right. Yeah,
I don't.
it's not an exact science, right?
Well, year because of what happened with what's the one you stick down the tabs in?
Apivar.
Apivar, yeah.
Amatraz, yeah.
What's the one in the syringe you put on the card? I thought that was that's Apagard.
Apagard.
Right?
In the syringe, you're talking about liquid oxalic?
No, Apagard.
Apagard. A lot of people went.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A lot of people went to Apagard this year because of the other one. They probably had a bad batch. I don't know what it was, but then
Apagard was killing bees.
Then you see, people like what's his name? Is it Keith over there? He killed like 20 colonies with that stuff. So it looked like he was following the label and everything, or even less than the label. Killed. He only had 12 out of 22 or something like that left. So
yeah, it's definitely a. I understand beekeeping evidently, and I haven't been keeping bees as long as a lot of people, and I'll admit that. But back in the day, they said you used to be able to just throw bees in the box and let them go, and they'd be fine. And now we got all these other mites and beetles and moths and all kinds of things, and it gets hard to disseminate the products out there, and what to use and what not to use. But again, go ahead, Philip. I'm sorry.
I'm saying it seems like Formic and that Apagard, they shut down the queen, which any brood break at all is going to help you out with your mites. Because mites cannot survive for more, I think, than about a month or two without being able to reproduce. They are long lived to some degree, but they're not going to, unless they've already taken over. So.
Hey, Phil, I did Apivar strips this year, and I treated 45 hives, and I had 4 of them abscond on me. Luckily, I caught 2 of them, so I lost 2.
That's funny you said
that. They
that.
all left within about the 4th day of me putting those strips in.
It's all right, Tom. They came to my house.
I used Apivar this year, and I had 9 abscons.
Yeah, there you go.
So I attributed mine to hive beetles because that's the thing that's the most. But do I really know what it was? No, I don't.
Well, did you have a lot of mite drop after you use the Apivar strips?
I never see mite drop.
Well, I'm saying that, but a few, you changed over to those boards and went to the Api tablet.
Yeah. So I actually, as I switched the bottom boards, I was pulling the Apivar out and putting tablets on, and I have seen mites still dropping, but is it great numbers? No. I mean, and I let it go the full 6 weeks. I didn't, and it was pretty much exactly 6 weeks. It wasn't like a week extra or a week short. I mean, it was 6 weeks.
Right.
And I'm still seeing some mites drop in there, but like the big colony that dropped all the mites, they were pretty much broodless by the time that I did put something on them. Yeah. And so that did help with that colony. I mean, is it dropping a lot of mites now? No, because it pretty much wiped them out when there was no brood in there,
Right.
And now it's got 6, 5.5, 6 frames of brood, eggs, larvae. It totally flipped around on its head. And the only thing that's ever been in there is an Api tablet since the spring.
I had some, I only use oxalic acid vapor, but I can only treat those colonies out in the country every 2 weeks. So I thought when I had one that was like 1,300 mites, and I had a couple that had 200 or 300, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get those mites with OA vapor. But after about 2 months of hitting them every time I went out there, I was dropping single digits on the mites. But I think that's because in August, in early September, my bees were probably nearly broodless because we were on such a dearth. So I think the queen had shut down anyway. And I think I happened to hit them once or twice when they were broodless, and then I'm okay.
Yeah, and no, hey, you've never heard me say that don't do what you're doing with mite treatments,
Right.
But if you put this in as a supplement and you drop a few more mites, isn't that better? Isn't that?
Oh, look at Brian C there. What were you treating with, Brian? Put his comment up.
All right, my eyes are not very good. Philip Morris, I did a shake that was 1 mite per 300, and it had over 200 mites fallen in the bottom board.
200 mites is only 1.5% if you do the math, though. It's not that. Oh no, maybe that's 50 mites. Hold on, I did that one time.
That was with Apogard.
I did it for. Was it Apogard? Okay.
That's what he put up on the bottom here.
I'm not saying Apogard's not effective. I'm saying that it also it stresses the bees for sure and the queen.
You've got to be really, really careful with your dosage level and your temperature. I've had really good luck with it up here.
Crow.
Yeah. Like last fall, I did actually. It was warm enough, and I didn't want to stress the bees, so I did 3 single pad treatments over 20 days, and actually it was over 24 days or something like that. But it wasn't stressing them quite as much, and it worked. Did it penetrate the cap and kill the ones in there? No, because it was a low dose. There's all sorts of variable ways to do this,
Right.
And if you got a tablet that's going to do something a little bit more, that's great. You want to go in? Okay,
Yeah.
hang on.
So Brian, on your wash there, the way I estimate, if you want a percentage, is if I get a drop, I'm going to assume what the experts say, 20%. You're killing 20%. So I just take that number and multiply it times 5. Okay, so that tells you how many mites supposedly theoretically are in the colony with what's in the brood and phoretic. So if you take that 200 and multiply it times 5, that's 1,000, and then you need to estimate how many bees are in the colony. In your case, I think I did 30,000, and I came up with 3.3% mite load, and you got 1%. So it's not totally out of whack. It's a little out of whack, but I guess it's 3 times. But
Philip at 33 miles bees with the Appy tablet, he did a shake. He had a 22 count, and a week later he went back and he had 1.74 after 1 week. So I'm glad he's doing that. That's just it's information, guys, that is is not out there. But
actually, as long as you brought him up, Bob, the video he had, he shot one, and all the bees were on the outside, and it looked like they wanted to, they were trying to leave the hive or get outside the hive. And I haven't heard any of you guys talk about that as far as the tablets are concerned. So what was happening with him?
Well, first of all, his bees, when he first did it, they were really, really aggressive.
Oh, they were hot.
Yeah, they were hot. Yeah.
After a week, they seemed to really calm down. So I don't know if that was bees that had just flown out to attack his face and then landed back on the front. I don't know. This looked like they were coming out in groups. That's my observation.
Those are your bees, Bob.
I will say that they do smell strong of thymol when you get them. They smell
well.
Really strong.
I think one of the things that had those bees irritated was he was trying to put a sticky board in the entrance, and when you start sticking stuff in the entrance, they react. You can stick stuff in from the backside all the time, and they don't seem to even notice there. But from the entrance, they don't.
Thank you, Philip. I didn't catch the whole video. I just saw the part where that they were all clumping on the outside.
Yeah, and he did grab that with a plier or something to drag it out, and dragged a bunch of bees out when he was.
Yeah, that pissed them off.
So, yeah, they were not happy about that. But I forgot all about that.
That's exactly. I use those wands, and that's exactly why I go to great lengths to treat them from the backside, not the front. You start sticking stuff in their entrance, they didn't make them happy.
I do all my treatments from the back.
Yeah, if you see my videos with my oil trays, they all open from the back.
Yeah.
The ones that, and that's kind of a problem with those retro kits that I bought from Datamp. to modify the solid bottom board for that. It's kind of it's hard to first of all pull those trays out to check them because they're in the entrance. Secondly, like to put a tablet down there, you're not doing it. It's not fitting up in there like that. So you got to put it on top. Or the good thing about the tablet is they fit perfectly in that 71 millimeter feed hole. If you've got that big a hole drilled in top in a migratory cover, they fit perfectly in that hole on top, and then you can just put your bucket or whatever over top of it and let them eat it from the bottom. But I find that the best way is if you got a double deep, just put them in between on the frames of the top box or the bottom box, and then put the other box right on top of it. As long as there's not a bunch of comb hanging down from the top and up from the bottom,
Okay.
scrape that clean.
So how tall are those things?
About ½ inch.
Oh, I thought they were more like an inch.
No, they're like
that,
a half
that
inch.
wide. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. About a finger wide, about the width of your finger, middle finger.
Thank you.
Something.
Brian said he's cleaning up with OA because that seems too high to him, and that's the reason I really like OA is because I'm always going to do one more treatment than I probably need, because if there's 20 mites falling, I'm going to hit them again. They got to be down in the under 5 before it's so easy just to hit them with another dose.
Mm-hmm.
But
so the thing I mean, but as far as the tablets, the thing I like, they're just so easy. You do it, you put it on the hive, you close it up, and you go away, and it's
no. I'm probably, if you guys, as long as your bees don't,
don't die.
As long as your bees don't die in a month or two, then I'll probably be getting some for the ones out in the country. I'll still do.
That colony that has kind of become the test colony for me, or the example colony, or whatever. I mean, I thought it was dead to begin with. Matter of fact, I said it in the live video. I said this colony's probably dead and doesn't even know it yet, right?
Really?
And but they've
said that,
so we'll see what happens.
well, I'm gonna have 37 hives with them and 2 hives without, because I ran out.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a YouTube question I want to ask you right quick.
You're asking us a YouTube question? Okay.
Yeah. All right, you when you started talking about Brian C's video, I didn't get notification, and for some reason, look right here. I'm going to show you. Personalized is checked, and everybody I'm subscribed to, I always do all.
Right.
But I'm not getting notification. I don't know if I'm accidentally changing that somehow with my iPhone.
I don't know.
YouTube is changing.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's
could be,
YouTube.
Joseph. You might be able to.
YouTube for you.
Yeah, you might be able to unsubscribe and then subscribe back in, and then select all, and that might take care of it. Just a guess.
I just changed it. I'm able to change it. I'm actually able to change it, but I keep finding people I'm subscribed to like that. When I don't get a video for a while, I go check on them, and it's on personalized. So I just found out Brian was on personalized instead of.
How do you get that setting? I don't even know where you see.
You got to hit the little bell where it says
it's just the bell.
But still, YouTube will unsubscribe you sometimes, change that setting sometimes.
I've had that happen.
Okay, yeah, I just went to your site, Bob. It says all on mine. Let me go back to Brian C's, because I didn't get a notification on his either, I don't think.
I seldom get Bob's, or I get him 2 hours after he's done with his live. So that's good.
Let me find Brian C. Actually, let me look and see if I did get a notification.
But it does that. Some people like Michael Buck that used to be in here all the time. Guys, I don't block anybody on my stream. I don't block anybody on my channel. Well, there's one person, but other than that, nobody else I've ever blocked, no matter what they say, right? And Michael Buck, for some reason, says he doesn't get my notifications at all anymore, and he used to be in here all the time in the chat. And I don't know. It could be that YouTube, YouTube just did an update, and I know that because of the settings and stuff that they do for your live streams with your phone, that you have to change them. So even if you're holding your phone this way, and if you haven't changed the setting in a live stream, it'll still show it like you're holding the phone like this. So,
Okay.
But you did notice my last video was like that, Bob.
oh yeah, I saw that you had it. You
Correct.
had it sideways.
Had to rearrange my tripod.
Thank YouTube for that.
Chris, I just realized how much you sound like who's that blue collar comedy guy? Ron White.
He's retiring.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I was gonna say I don't know who he is.
Oh, really?
I saw a thing where he's retiring and
He's a comedian.
going to do one more. Well, he's been doing comedy. He really got famous during that blue collar comedy tour.
Oh yeah.
But he is he's been doing it for a long time.
So what you're saying, Mike? I need to quit my day job.
If I had his money, I'd quit my day job. For sure. All the scotch.
Excuse me.
But
yeah. Say, Philip, how's your mom?
She's doing good. I'm actually going to pick her up a week from Thursday, probably.
Okay.
Spend a little over a week with me, so I'll get her on here.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Bob, did you mention something about your mom?
yeah, the nurse came, and I kind of probed her, right, because the nurse that comes, she sees people like my mom all the time, right? So I'm like, I know you can't tell me with a professional, any kind of date or anything like that. I said, but in all realistic terms, how long do you think my mom has? And she said, probably 6 months. So
No, I'm sorry, Bob. Cancer or?
No, she's got Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom has that too. My mom can't get through a whole sentence without forgetting like a real simple word. That's she's not. She knows what she wants to say. She just can't express that word.
Yeah, that's how my mom was about 5 years ago, and she's lost a ton of weight. She's probably down to about 90 pounds, and
That's a sign too.
Yeah,
Hey, Phil.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Phil, you should be in my shoes. I write a lot of PLC code, so there aren't any little words. So when I go to write a sentence, I leave them out all the time.
Oh.
Does and because none of those are in languages.
Well, it's pretty easy for me to talk to her because I've heard her tell the same stories about 100 times. So
there you go.
In the blanks for her.
Right.
So we can just keep going like normal, just about.
Yeah. So are all you guys? How many of you guys are going to go to the Cayman conference?
I've got tickets right now.
I've got tickets.
I'm going.
Planning on it.
Queen Bee's is a PLC programmer too. Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy's on here. I was wondering about him. I keep checking back for videos. He sold all of his stuff, but still seeing what's going on over there.
Oh, he did. He sold all his stuff.
Yeah, he spend more time with his family.
Oh, there you go.
He's got
Joey, you said you were getting on a flow because I think mine's wrapping up here. But we had a really good flow up here at the house.
It's coming in pretty good right now. I just don't know how long it's going to last.
Mine slammed the brakes on after about 2 weeks. I had pollen. I had some pollen sub in my tube. They weren't touching it. One day, the next day, wiping it out. I mean, and they never really stopped taking syrup.
So yeah, I had a colony that was it was in a swarm trap still, and I knew it was way too big for that. And sure enough, they'd built a bunch of comb on the bottom, but it was on those things I've been that I've playing around with called the Texas Deep, those extra deep frames. And so I had 4 of those in there, so that's pretty good space. So then I decided to put them in a 10 frame box. So I got 4 frames of those, and then I added 3 on each side, 6 total frames. And that was only 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. But the outside frames were real. I don't even want to get into what they were, but they weren't right. I needed to change those out. So I went out yesterday morning to change those out. And I'll be damned if those bees hadn't built comb all the way out. They just started it. They had a piece about as big as my hand on those outside frames, but they've been on a really good flow to do that. When I pulled those out, I went ahead and replaced them because they're screwy frames. When I put those out, the bees started robbing them out. And so I'm like, all right, I might be at the end of my flow because before I'd pulled the comb, when I took the comb out of them and cut the comb off the bottom, I just let it lay there beside the colony, and the bees didn't even eat it. I think rats or something came along and ate it, and it stayed there for over a week, and they didn't touch it.
Interesting.
So
Joey,
go ahead.
No, I was changing this topic, so go finish what you're saying. So I'll change it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure they weren't terrible, as it wasn't robbing like after you put your supers out wet, but they were more than there was a week ago. Go ahead.
Get a flow this fall. It was too dry. All of a sudden, the spigot just stopped.
Joseph, how far are you from Biloxi?
A couple of hours.
I'm gonna be down there in next month, so I don't know if you're going to that conference or not.
You just going to the casino?
Next month.
I'm gonna be working there actually for a day. That'll be my vacation, working in Biloxi.
There you
go.
I do have a question. When you get on YouTube, it's like seems like everybody is feeding, and I wonder about people who keep their strategy based on what they see on YouTube rather than what they see with their bees, because that happens.
Right.
Oh yeah.
What else is doing. And if I had done that with my bees here, I would have been in a world of trouble, because I've got 3 or 4 supers on those things, and it hadn't rained much at all. So, yeah, if you don't pay attention, you can get yourself in a bind. They'll go honeybound pretty fast.
Yeah, you got to read your bees. Absolutely. A lot of people unfortunately do.
Yesterday, so we'll have a freeze probably in a week or 2.
I can tell when I go
feeding for a week or just a couple weeks.
I can tell when I go out to the colony and I go to take the lid off and the whole thing moves. It's like, well, that's a little light.
Yeah,
I need to throw something on that one.
Exactly. Well, the only reason I really got into mine much was because I knew there was one colony I had that was in a single, and I had another single on top. They were side by side, and I didn't have room to put them, so I stacked them one on the other. And I was like, man, I was looking at the bee activity on the front of that, and I said, there are probably way too many bees in there for that single. So I went in there to look at them and try to get stick a super on top of them and then put the other ones. When I pulled the top off the one above them and it was full of honey, then they were exactly the same size. When I split them up, I went, oh, yes, I better start looking a little closer at my bees. And there was white wax all over the bottom of the inner covers. Yeah.
Charles.
sure, son.
Yeah.
Good day.
Hey,
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie?
hey, everybody.
How you doing today?
Oh, all right, I
Hello.
guess. I took a load of firewood out and dropped it off, and I was coming home, and then my diesel truck just died. Here I am sitting on the side of a 2-lane road.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Probably don't have cell coverage.
no, I called my brother, and then about that, the motor would spin, but it wouldn't fire. It's 6.0 diesel, piece of junk. So it did finally start, and I got up. I was almost to this one intersection, made a right, and there was a church right there on the corner. So I could feel it starting to do it again. So I ducked in there in the parking lot. And
What do you think's wrong with it?
fuel filters. There's a frame rail filter and a regular filter up around the motor. It's what my brother's going to replace tomorrow. And we've researched it in the past where Ford made this plastic gas tank, I guess you'd call it, or diesel tank, and it sloughs off stuff on the inside of that tank. And it is a little bit below halfway. I always try to keep the fuel tank full. And so anyway, my brother took it and we went towards home, and our plan was there was a farmer that we knew that we went in there, and of course it died once we got in there to park or in their driveway, it died. So we put it off to the side on one of their little access roads and told them we'll be there tomorrow to, get it fixed or do something with it.
Well, I don't know how much.
Yeah, Russell, it's actually a Ford, but it's got that 6.0 diesel in it.
I don't know how much of the stream you've caught so far, but it's been
I've been late getting in.
Our Mite saga's continued. We've been Mite chatting for 2 days straight now. So and Todd
threw the mic.
Todd dropped the mic and left to eat dinner.
Oh, he did too, and he did a good job.
He did a good job explaining it. So
yeah, very much.
Hey James, good to see you.
I saw part 2 of his reassembly video.
I didn't get a chance to do that yet.
Capper.
Yeah, I saw that too. That thing looks like brand new.
Looks brand new.
That's better than brand new.
That's a heck of a deal. Well, fix or repair daily. I'll remember that next time you ask me to drive over and bring you some tablets in my Ford.
That's all right. I'll pull you out with my Toyota.
Yeah, Lamarck Farms. Yeah, you're right. We've already redid the head on it already. That was $6,000.
It's almost like being a beekeeper.
Well, when you took it to the place to get it done, they actually have to lift the whole entire cab off of it to get into it.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm cutting out. I gotta get up at 5. So.
All right, Chris.
All right, Chris. We'll talk to you.
Take care, Chris.
Yeah. Honeybee compound. That's a possibility too. We might be out of fuel. I'm not sure. We were possibly suspecting that.
Okay, Tilly. Hey, yeah, guys, I gotta take off here too. But hey, Tim, I just saw you, so I had to leave right away. I cannot compete with the world's most perfect beard.
Oh, come on now, you make man blush.
Yeah. Hey, brothers, have a blessed day or good night, and we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.
All right.
Did he just give us the sign from like the day? And is that what that
I don't know.
That's a Catholic thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's like, I don't know. Our neighbor's Catholic, and they do that. I'm not sure what that means, but.
Well, we'll just assume he means see y'all later.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, I think they did this when they did the thing with the what was that movie series?
James, it's a Canadian free night. Didn't you hear?
Oh yeah, the link not linked. The link is linked. The link is linked.
I got the link. Yeah, it's there.
The link's up. It's right up there.
I found the thing.
It's right up there.
Brad had that same problem. Maybe they're blocking you up at the up the border.
I mean, I can.
Yeah.
You don't do the Book of Faces though. I don't have a way to text it to him.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's up there.
So
I'm looking at it,
James, and let us know what's going on new in your world. He says no link there.
It's up there.
Maybe it didn't make it through.
Didn't make it through customs.
It hadn't cleared customs yet. I don't know. Not enough Canadian content. That's funny. Well, Alex, can you see it? How do I don't know. I'll put it in the chat.
Shane's in Canada too.
I put it in the chat. There you go. Click it before it scrolls away.
So anyway, we got that sort of taken care of.
Comment.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch you guys last night, and I got on there to watch it
Yeah, I saw your comment.
early this morning, and it's
It's
like
the most in-depth Mite chat I've seen on any YouTube channel ever.
it was awesome.
There's Alex. He's half
Man,
listening.
Brad was like breaking it down. I was like, this is great.
Alex, can you see the link?
There you
There's
go.
Kane.
Hey, there he is.
I can see the link.
Only saw it in the chat. It wasn't pinned up top.
No.
So
Well, maybe
Alex
for you. I don't know. Brad said the same.
James,
how's everyone doing?
Wonderful.
Doing good. How are you?
doing good. How you doing?
I was better. Got over it.
I'm doing good. Finally slowing down up here a little bit.
He's
Still
talking
daylight
about
out.
the link, Alex.
The,
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex can see it too.
well, the what you call it, Alex, Brad made a video specifically for you on his YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen it over there, go look. He even calls you by name. You should be happy.
Usually when somebody's
Now,
calling,
Boy Scout signs, East
I was gonna
Coast,
say,
West Coast.
when
Yeah,
somebody's
that-
calling me by name, it's
that's
usually
the
never a
Scout's
good
thing.
thing.
Well, yeah, when they call me, they usually don't use my first name.
Yeah.
I can't say it on YouTube, so there you go. So,
So I haven't been in here for a bit. What's the latest chat? What are we talking about?
well, we've been addressing mites and scientific studies. You don't want to know everything.
Excellent.
I might get blackballed if I talk about everything that's been happening, so I gotta keep it on the low.
You're a bad beep.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
Hands been slapped.
that's what I'm hearing.
Well, like I said, you just got to be like me. You don't care, and I hate everybody equally.
Right. Well, that's
There
it.
you go.
I don't care. I pretty much rely on one thing. Yeah, I don't care what people think of me personally, but they will know that I don't lie, and I don't cheat, and I don't steal.
Then you're
That's it. The rest of it
Perfect.
doesn't matter to me. But sometimes you get your wrist smacked when you bring those things to the top of mind awareness. There,
sounds like I got to go back and watch a whole bunch of videos because I've been a little bit busy lately.
you don't have
so
enough time
I'm
in your schedule.
going to have to
catch
watch
up
some
on the
videos and see what I missed.
You don't have enough time in your schedule.
There
Next
we go.
year at this time, you'll say, Bob, I was watching some videos and I finally got to the end of the rabbit hole.
There you go. So Bob, how are your bees doing?
My bees are great. The ones that are living large, and the ones that didn't, I'm not worried about them.
What are you down to? What you lost some more?
I'm at 39.
You were up at 70 something, weren't you?
Yeah, 70, but I was counting nukes, and I sold some nukes and merged them down, and did the thing. So, but the ones that I've got are strong colonies right now.
Perfect.
So eliminating pests, hives,
Good.
mites, and but as long as I don't come out of spring with 17, it was a success.
There you go. How's everybody else's
greater
bees
than
doing?
17's got to be.
They're doing good. Oh, mine.
Yep, mine are doing good.
Excellent.
How many you got, Charlie?
Counting the nukes is 30 of them.
Yeah.
So,
But that's your stasis point, right? That's where you try to stay at, right there at 30.
well, actually, if I have the full amount of nukes, which is 20, and then 12 honey hive, production hive, so usually it's 32. I'm down a couple, but I had, like the last video I put out, it was one of those, I don't know whether the queen didn't get mated very well or what. It was later in the year, and it wasn't one of my queens. It was a queen that my mentee made. And so anyway, she got mated, came back, laid, and then disappeared. And so I combined it with another hive. So,
I'm at 30, 35, I think 35, 36, down from 40 years.
Bob, I'm at 39. But number 39, I'm not too sure about. I'll be checking that one tomorrow.
I have not.
All year,
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
all year it hasn't done very well. I did a split on it, and it just never took off.
Got her.
Queen Jeremy said I'm at 0. I like that.
So,
Well,
I'm
you-
about.
Hey,
I'm about
I was going to say we're going to pull the Forrest Gump. We only got 3, so
there you go. Well,
everybody's
sounds like
ahead.
everybody, so and so. Well, by the sounds of it, everybody had not a bad year then. Increased
How'd you
in
come
numbers
out?
in some, decreased in numbers in some, but that's just kind of beekeeping, right?
Yeah, especially when I'm only 130, so I'm a +9 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. A buffer. You just got a buffer. That's all.
There you go. I can lose 9 and be right on target.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's going close to 0. Actually, it's froze quite a few nights up here already. So I'll be looking. Well, I think I put them all in the bee barn November 1st last year. So I imagine they'll be in there probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks for sure. So usually, November 1st. So things are wrapping up here. Most of them are already plugged out. So that's a good thing. And yeah, it's for myself, it's been a relatively very successful year. So increased my numbers. I've sold lots of bees. Yeah, good honey harvest. So I'm just north of about 15,000 pounds this year. So not where I still want to be, but next year, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. So next year is going to be completely focused on honey production for me next year. So I'm hoping for double, at least double what I did this year. So if I can pull off about 50,000 pounds, I'll be happy.
So I had a good year, my best year ever. So
Excellent.
knock on wood.
Yeah, this has been my best year ever too, even with the bad flows and everything else. I mean, as far as overall, right, growing in
Yep.
colonies, learning a lot. That was the biggest thing, right? Is learning new processes and learning new things to go into next year, like queen rearing and stuff like that. James, you helped out with that a ton, and got my colonies more on a level playing field. So
excellent.
Should help out.
I'm still waiting for the final count because I'm gonna have a fall harvest, but I'm just hoping to get to 1,100 pounds so I can be 1/10 of the man Brad Hogg is.
Well, you're already 1/10 of the man Brad Hogg is, and he's not here to even catch the joke.
I know. Don't tell him. I'll repeat it next time he's on.
I already know he'll send me a message. He'll say, "Be nice."
I think Brad had one of his better years too. Did he not?
He did really good.
Yeah, he did really.
He
good.
did very well for the predicament that he went through.
Yeah.
So,
and everything.
What did he say? Over 11,000 pounds, right?
Yeah. He said that would good for this year's. The crop will last this year and into next year.
Yeah, his top end is 12. I think he expects 8 to 12. He said so. Yeah, he did really good.
That's perfect. That's it's good to hear everybody's had a successful year, whether it's bee production or hive count or honey production. That's awesome. So and
yeah, I mean, I produced 150 some pounds more than I did last year, which I didn't think I was going to make it. And as far as my numbers go, I'm right where I'm always are, 30, 32 going into the winter. And the bees that are in the hives now are strong and, heavy populations. And I fed, what was it, yesterday?
Oh,
I guess it was yesterday. I fed them my last tank full of sugar water that I'm going to give them. So I checked them today. It was 24 hours later and they still had feed, and probably that feed will last the next 2 or 3 or 4 days. By that time it'll be emptied and I'm ready to take the feeders off and put them away, put them to bed for the year.
Oh, excellent. Way to go, Alex.
Yeah. Oh, and I've got to correct myself because I said that Keith at Larimore was down to 12. He's down to 20. He killed 12 with that apple guard.
Oh, in the temperature?
Apivar, right? Apivar.
No, Apigard.
Or Apigard.
The guard is the thymol.
The thymol, yeah.
Okay. Temperature got him?
It wasn't that hot, really, but I don't know. Humidity, he thinks. He's got a really high humidity where he is.
Got her.
Swampy area, right?
Yeah.
Where's he at? Where's Larimore Farms at?
He's in South Carolina, but he's closer to the coast, and he's got some swamp land. Like
He had some videos where it was sure enough swampland he was walking through.
Wow.
So it's a
Looked like some of the country I used to squirrel hunt in when I was in Louisiana.
hey, that's impossible. That's got scientific studies on it that says it doesn't affect the honeybees. It's impossible that they died.
Stop
That's
it. I'm going to get back on here. Stop it.
We're going full circle here. We're bringing it back. Todd, where you at?
Are you poking, Bob? Are you poking?
Well, I mean, the whole beginning of the show was about scientific studies, and then Todd came on and educated us about scientific studies and how the pharmaceutical industry uses them, and how doctors will use stuff off label to treat for other things, right? Even though that's not what it was really the scientific studies were for. So, but anyway, yeah, so I just kind of brought that back full circle.
I was going to say I'm far from a scientist, but I will be collecting a pile of data this year. So, as you guys know, I like my data. So I'm working on a few things up here. So, we'll see how that turns out.
Bob's using horse medicine to treat his bees. We found out.
Yeah. Well, hey, the only thing is,
it works.
If one person does it, people could say, well, that's what do you call it, an anomaly or an outlier. But now other people have been putting it on are also reporting that they're having lots of mite drops. So, starts to become a habit.
You would not believe what I'm using to treat mites that I'm doing a little experiment on my second year.
Is it legal?
So
is it approved by scientific studies? Is it approved by the government? That's what we need to know. Yes or no?
Approved by me. That's good enough. I'm an engineer. Well, I can stamp it.
Okay, we understand all that. I've got a health science degree, and I'm this close to a master's in health science, but that doesn't matter to anybody in the YouTube sphere. Is it approved by the government?
I've got to go watch some videos. I'm missing something.
I'm just
this winter I'll be changing the formula just a little bit, changing the ratios a little bit, and doing a third test next year.
What are you using?
I'm not telling you yet, but let's put it this way: it's not a chemical, and it will not hurt one bee.
Okay, but
well, you know what? It goes like this. I'll tell you exactly what I'm using. I'm using.
Yes.
How does that sound?
Yeah, it's another industry uses them, and I'm repurposing them.
No, I am. It's interesting because I don't know what it is like in the States, but every province up here has a little bit of different rules and regulations as to what can be used and what can't be used. What's approved, what's not approved. But the problem is, and I think a lot of the larger beekeepers will tell you the same thing. By the time things get approved,
bees are dead.
So we've far moved on, and it takes far too long to get some of these approvals and everything up there. And of course, the ones that suffer are the beekeepers and the bees. So
that was like at Hive Life this year. Dr. Peck was up there, and he was rambling on about I forget what it was, either the dosage of oxalic acid or something in that nature. And it was like, he asked a group a question like, you're all going to follow this? And we're like, no, we're not. And he was like astonished. He says, I actually made a comment to him, and he finally got it. I says, if I do this, is the government going to come and buy my bees? The insurance part of it, where if they died or whatever, like crop insurance. And he says, then he finally got it. He says, no, they're not. I says, well, I guess we're going to continue on like we are, because to keep our bees alive.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way it is. at least when it comes to beekeeping. So some of the other agriculturals, beef farming, stuff like this, they're always ahead. They're always trying to think of, the next thing. But it seems like beekeeping is always, uh, 2 to 5 years behind in trying to get some of these approvals and
By
things
that
like
time,
this.
there's a
And
whole
it's
new pest.
unfortunate. Yeah.
The thing of it is about beekeeping versus, let's say, the beef industry or something like that. Beef industry affects every person in the world. Well, as far as let's say the United States beef industry, it affects everybody who eats meat, and it's real direct. Whereas beekeeping isn't really that direct. They don't see if there's an issue here. They don't, the general public doesn't see that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you pull it up as far as an industry, and I can't speak about what goes on in the States, but if you pull it up as far as uh, honey production or honey export here in Canada, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Actually, I think it's Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan in that order. The amount of honey that we export and produce, or as far as revenue generating, is not something to sneeze at.
Well, no, you guys definitely have the crop and the forage to be able to do that.
So I mean, it now the unfortunate part is compared to, so let's say beef. It's a small drop. It's a very small portion, but it's still substantial. So it's unfortunate that it just takes so long to get that put through. So.
It depends on how well it fills the politicians' pockets,
Well, that's where it's great to have guys up here that are pushing and working hard. The Canadian Honey Council, guys like Ian, that are active and working to try and to speed up that process. And our tech transfer program up here, that's the other one. It's huge. I mean, to get that support, to get that research, to get that data, to help them assist to push these things through. Programs like that we have up here in Canada, and I don't know if you have that in the States, but things like that are absolutely huge. Supporting things like the Beekeepers Association.
What this tech? Yeah, I hear Ian talking about the tech transfer. What is that?
So that is a research, our government, so it's through the government Alberta, government of Manitoba, and I think the government of Saskatchewan research program. So they will work to help identify, help find solutions for issues in the beekeeping industry, right? They add and the big one is they actively share information back and forth. They work with things like the Beaver Lodge Research Center, which is the Canadian, I think they're still the Canadian Bee Research Center here. So where they're actively working to try and find problems just for the beekeepers. So it's, they help us quickly diagnose problems. We can pull samples, we can send it off to them. They will tell us what our spore count is if we suspect nosema. We suspect we got problems like AFB or EFB. I mean, we can see it and stuff like that. But if you're ever in question, they'll send the tech transfer program out. They'll take samples. They'll get you that information back, and they get you that information back very, very quickly. So
I mean, what we have is, we have bee labs, I guess you would call it, where like we have the Maryland Bee Lab, then there's the Georgia Bee Lab, the Florida Bee Lab. There's some other ones, I think, on the West Coast, Washington State Bee Lab. And I presume they're all government funded, and they sit there and figure out disease, well, like the mites and stuff like that.
Yeah. So ours are funded by the government, and they're actually funded by the beekeepers. So there's a bit of a shared cost there. So, and it's another tool, but the biggest thing there is the share and collection of data and transfer and of that data, and the assistance in trying to push some of these new treatments and stuff like that through. So,
well, I mean, I agree. That's how it should be. But why isn't it? Why is it if you try something new, you get ostracized? instead of, hey, that seems to be working for this guy. That's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. But instead, you get rocks thrown at you.
Well,
I
I've been
think,
called,
Rob, a
I've been called
certain
a
person
cowboy.
got out of hand a little bit.
Oh,
Do what?
That's my opinion.
What'd you say?
A certain person or two got out of hand a little bit.
Well, I know I was one of the people that got out of hand. I mean, I know that, but it's the yeah,
The other one.
yeah, it's unfortunately it doesn't matter. I mean, that's not the only comment that I get, like on the chats, right? Where it's just
well, I call you names all the time, Bob.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah, James,
neither
neither
does anybody else.
So James, how's your? I mean, I know that you had an operation and stuff. Are you still recouping it from that, aren't you?
I am, yep. So that'll be a little bit. So you know, the last one was good news. So the last one is, you know, everything came out of that you know, very well. So it's just a matter of time. So I do have to kind of, you know, still take it a little bit easy, you know, and that's you know, as far as beekeeping and stuff like that. Having somebody like Alan, you know, around there to help me all the time, having somebody like Sheldon, you know, to pop in and help all the time. Guys like that are huge. So, and I'm at that point where, yeah, I can do it all myself, but it's a whole lot easier to have somebody like that in the event where I get sick. So, you know, so
it also makes it more fun to work your bee yard when you're chatting with somebody while you're out there joking and cutting up and doing all the work.
It absolutely is, and Alan will be a partner going forward too. So, you know, so that's gonna be good too.
Good.
So
that's a win-win.
Are you still? You're right at what 300 hives? Are you going to?
Well,
you're going to go forward with that more or what?
So I'll be putting 154 hives into the bee barn. So I had a little bit of a sale here lately. So yeah, once again it's all a good news story. So there'll be about 100. I think we counted 154 is what we'll have left, and that's what's going to go into the bee barn, and then we will assess that in the spring. But our goal is to have at least 150 full production hives, you know, next spring. So that's where we're going to be.
So I was going to ask you, James, how many hives your shed will hold?
About 500.
Okay.
Will did you ever hear back from the co-op?
Haven't yet. So they meet here in October, so sometime this month, and it's fine because when I submitted my application to the co-op is for next year. So it looks like this year here is I think I have sales for most of my honey here locally.
Yeah, you were saying that you were selling it to meaderies and stuff like that, and you know.
Yep.
And all.
So I just got another 2 drums here that I'll be exporting in here as well. So I got another 2 drums that'll be leaving here before the end of the month. So yeah, no, things are going really well.
So how many hives did you sell, James?
Let's just say about half of them. So
not the equipment, just the bees and frames.
Just the bees and the frames.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I'm hanging on to the equipment.
Well, and
they're doing well then.
Well, that's an
yes.
That's an important thing too, because that actually gives you a season where you don't have to buy new boxes. Just frames.
I'm going to.
Well, because you're going to expand, but
yeah. So we were talking about that. We figure we're going to order about 400 boxes and about 500 to 5,500 frames. So now the other good thing too is I have a whole bunch of boxes of drawn comb ready to go for this coming year. So that was something that I really struggled with this year, was to you know, to get it. And when I say about 15,000 pounds of honey, you got to remember they also drew out 350 boxes of deep frames. They drew all that out into wax as well. So when you look at it that way, 100 and say 150, say 300 boxes. So times 10 frames, so that's 3,000 frames that they drew out with wax as well. So whether you want to call it 6 or 7 pounds of honey to a pound of wax, that's a lot of honey that we spent or we used to draw out that comb for next year. So
Yep.
I'm just in much better
So
shape for next year.
if you sold the bees, would you shake the bees off the frames?
No, he sold the frames too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, you're losing wax is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I was well compensated.
Not really.
Okay.
So
Well, is he gonna rant again, or is he calmed down now that his belly's full? I think he was hangry a minute ago.
Evening, Todd.
Hey, James, I'm glad to see you on here. I'm glad you're doing better.
Oh, absolutely. So I just got to, I put up a couple videos here lately, and Alan did one here. It was, what was it, 24 degrees, which would be 75 degrees Fahrenheit on the weekend when we were out feeding the bees. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous weather, especially for, northern Alberta here in October. But every time I put a video up, everybody's like, "Hey, where'd you go? What are you doing?" But yeah, just super, super busy over the summer. I've got 10 terabytes of video that I've shot this year. That it'll be busy, so I should be able to keep a few videos going here this winter. Now, I learned something here this past week too. So I use a program called Luma Fusion for doing my videos and editing my videos and stuff like that. And when that little thing pops up and says, "Are you sure you want to do it?" You should maybe read the print above that, because I hit the button. Oh yeah, I want to do this. And then what I didn't realize is it was asking me, "Are you sure you want to delete this?"
Oh.
And I deleted most of my reassembly of my uncapper. And I thought, oh, no problem. I just deleted it from this program. I'll go and pull it back out. Nope, it deleted it all. So I lost probably about 14 hours of video just in putting that thing back together. So any of the viewers out there that was looking for that, I apologize. But
so we got the Cliff Notes version of the reassembly then.
Oh, you got definitely it was like everything was going along really good, and then there's a whole bunch that's missing, and look at it, it's assembled, and I've looked everywhere, and it's like, oh no, what did I do?
That's the trick on the YouTube front for sure, because
you shouldn't have told us, James, and then you just say in the YouTube saying, "Oh, my batteries went dead."
Oh no, that was a complete. This guy buggered up. So,
yeah,
I understand. I was kidding.
On the YouTube front, I mean, that's a thing that it takes a long time to put videos together and drag and drop and find the files and render and edit. So when you do misplace something, or something didn't get saved on your GoPro when you did the whole thing, or you did the whole thing and forgot to hit the start on the GoPro, and then you're done and you're like, well, I guess we're not putting out a video this week.
I did some of those, and the worst part is when I was putting that thing back together, the batteries and stuff did die from time to time, and I took it all apart so I could video it again, just to delete it in the end. It's like, oh man.
Hey, well, just think, you had practice, you knew exactly where everything went. It's easy.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, if anybody comes across one of those old time Cowan uncappers, with the aluminum cast aluminum ends on it, don't pass it up. Man, that thing is. It needed a couple modifications. There's an upgrade kit that Cowan sells, but don't pass it up. That thing is rock solid, and once you get it dialed in, it doesn't miss a beat. Like, I mean, just goes. So that really was a golden find. It really was.
Yeah, I have to say I haven't eaten yet. The chicken's in the oven. That's why I took a break.
Oh, so you're still
Yeah.
hangry. So
Mm,
No, I'm not angry.
we get
I
we
can
get
hear
ran
that stomach growling,
Hey.
Todd.
And Philip, I have to apologize, man. I love you, brother, but I was on a roll and I didn't want to stop.
I was going to tell you, you're going to have to put a label on that rant. It causes cancer in California.
Where did Charlie's head go? His head's in a hive.
It was in the ground for a second, wasn't it? Thinking his head in the sand.
I was
Oh,
charging my mic system.
But yeah, I
Hey
didn't.
guys, I'm been calling it good night.
All right,
Really
Tom.
checking
All
off.
right,
Good night, Tom.
So
Yeah, we won't
good
be
to
on
see
here.
everybody.
I didn't even get to the commercial side of things.
Well,
And
go
what
ahead.
they do.
Enlighten
No,
us.
I'm not going to because it's not an approved method, and I don't want to get
No,
into
that's
trouble.
fine. We're this.
But I'll just say that it's a compound that's already being used, but it's just being used. Oh no, wait.
It's Amatraz, 12.5%. It's called Tactic or Bovatraz.
There you go.
Typically, you bring it up from across the border in Mexico.
There you go. It's called the juice. They call it the juice here.
The juice. So you put the juice on the colonies.
But Bob, that's not an approved mite method. So we
Yeah,
can't talk about that. We don't want.
Nobody does that. Nobody does
the FDA banning that, because those are the commercial guys. You don't want to screw them up,
Hey, wait a minute. Hang on here. I was going to say, I'm a bit of a commercial guy.
No, I know that, but I'm saying if we start talking about it, the FDA will ban it, or theoretically they could.
Ban it again.
Ban it
You
again.
in Canada.
Strike two.
It's just ridiculous. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to try something that looks like it works and try it out for themselves. They don't need scientific data. They need anecdotal evidence. And if they see that it works, great. Be happy. Don't ruin it for everybody else just because it doesn't have a study.
Those same people admit to receiving that very product and using that very product. The only thing they say they're looking for are results.
Correct.
They didn't say anything to supplemental value in there. They're looking for results.
Okay, I got to go back to the beginning of this video.
Yeah, I got on a roll.
But you're right, Todd. There's like one commercial place I go to that they do certain things that,
They won't talk about it.
Hey,
because-
but like James does
all those
some interesting experiments too.
all those blue towels you see that are on hives from videos of here and there. I have a news for you. That's not approved.
Right.
Yeah,
You mean it's illegal?
I get flack from some of the larger commercial guys up here.
Yeah, but then they
It's
come
not-
and buy hives from you in the winter when theirs have all died.
at a premium price, I might add.
Yeah, that's when they stuck their nose up in the air at you and tried to wouldn't talk to you and everything else.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Tornado warning or tech.
Amber alert.
Amber alert.
But
It's amazing.
I was going to say, yeah, they look at me because I don't follow the traditional ways. So I read a lot of studies. Everybody knows I crunch the numbers, I look at the data, and I make the decisions from that. So
but look at the guy that you had in your video that you talked about, where you were making 200 pounds of honey per hive, and he couldn't crack 100. And he said, "Oh, it's the canola." He's blaming the canola field, and his hive load or his mite load was out the roof.
Through the roof, but he was a traditional guy, right? So
I mean, don't they go to
bee school?
Bee school or that's I mean, there's like the AFB, like the American Bee Federation. I mean, these guys get educated like everybody
I wouldn't
else.
name the conference that.
But it's the same old. So I mean, I like some of the traditional ways. Some of we wouldn't be where we are without some of the traditional ways. But at the same token, read the science, follow the science, and look at the science behind it, and don't walk or march blindly based off of just the scientific data either, because you're going to march off the end of a cliff. So use your own better judgment, make a decision based off of whether it's the traditional ways or the scientific data that you have. Apply it in the best way you can, interpret it the best way you can, and do a small test to ensure that it's going to work. And then from there, go forward. And I mean, well, it's about everybody on here. I've shared some of what I've done with everybody, and I'm willing to share that with anybody. But my results might be different than Charlie's or Joseph's or Philip's or Todd's or anybody's, right?
Well, the guy that you were talking to, where what was it? He said, "Well, I don't have no mice because I don't see them."
Yeah, he was sure that he did not believe that mites were a problem.
I mean, I've been at it for I'll say close to 15 years, and that was the attitude 15 years ago.
But
we know better now.
Yeah, those guys run almost 800 hives. And they couldn't figure out why 60% of them die off every year. We did one mite shake.
Don't they listen to
the bottom
studies and everything else?
Yeah, when we did that mite shake, we put about a cup of bees in there, so we had a little bit more than 300 bees.
Yeah,
but the mites absolutely covered the bottom of that cup. I mean, covered it. You could hardly see through. You tipped it on the side, there was a little bit at the top. Otherwise, it was covered with mites.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of dead hives. Is all he's got. They don't know it yet, though.
Well, and he had never done a mite shake, right? But now I think he's probably the far end of that spectrum. But it blew my mind to think that in today's day and age that we can put blinders on and think that this isn't going to be an issue. I mean, I did, my bees came out of the barn. I did a shake on every one of them. I found one mite. I did some mite shakes here just before I started doing some treatment, and I split my hives up. So because I'm doing a little bit of testing this winter, but I had anywhere from 1% to, I guess the highest one was 6 mites. So, what is that? 3%? And that I thought was fairly high, right? So,
it's 2%, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to have 300 bees, and you're supposed to have no more than 9 mites. It's actually, there's 3 per 100.
Right. So,
and if it's 3, if it's at the third, you definitely need to treat. 2, you better really thinking real strong about treating. And it's gotten down to the point where if it isn't for every 100, it should only be 1 mite.
Well, I actually I did quite a bit of shakes, and I marked my hives differently. So I've got some green
getting
hives.
ready to be done. I'll be back.
All right.
I got some green hives. I got some yellow hives, and I got some red hives. The red hives have a very high mite count, and I'd have to dig the data out to show you.
Yeah.
The green hives had a very low mite count, and the yellow hives were somewhere in between. And I did that intentionally because I split them up. I am fully expecting to have some dead hives in the spring. That's going to be my control. So I've got a control there where they didn't get any treatments.
Oh man, you're starting to sound like Phil.
Is that a bad thing? Could be, but I didn't do a very good job of keeping data last year, so I'm going to do a much better job this year, and we're going to see what comes out of it. So if I lose 5-10 hives, it goes against every beekeeper bone in my body, but I think I will be better off for it, knowing and fully understanding as to what that's going to mean for the rest of my hives. So I'll probably get slammed for that, but that's okay. That's what I'm doing. So
I don't know, James.
But at the end of the day, the only one you're beholden to with your bees is your bees and you. I mean, if I try something and it doesn't work, then it's my bees that suffer and it's my wallet that suffers. It's not anybody else anywhere else in the world, right? So,
well, this is going to sound weird. Like as you guys can watch my videos there in the spring, my bees came out of the barn super, super strong. And I'm trying to understand why they came out super strong. Not because I don't want them to. I'm trying to understand exactly what I did to make them that way. So if I continue to do the exact same thing, but I don't understand as to why, it's just a shot in the dark. So if I can understand as to exactly why they came out that strong, what I did that made them come that strong, well, I want to share that with everybody so that everybody's bees can come out that strong.
Right.
Well, I mean, you did some different things that you told us about, and it, where you only had one mite, and I think that's a sort of the future right there for beekeepers inside barns.
Well, I think so too, and
and then you had a feeding system and different things of that nature that seemed to really be highly effective.
It did, and the other thing too is studying up on artificial insemination. So AI for the bees, and don't take my word for it, but if you go and you can pull up information off the internet regarding artificial insemination. And what they found there is they have a much higher egg count if you treat that queen twice. So they found that the egg count goes up substantially by the tune of, I don't quote me on the number, but I think it was like 20 or 30% increase in egg production. So these are all the things that I need to understand, so that hopefully I can pinpoint it at the end of this year, and it'll just be a bonus for me going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest contention with the chat has been hypocrisy. I mean, if you want to boil it down to a single word, right?
What's that mean?
What'd you say, Charlie?
I said, what's that mean?
Oh, doing one thing and chastising somebody for doing the exact same thing.
Oh, okay.
Right. So,
but you know what? If we never ever try anything new, we're never ever going to know if it works or not, right? Now there's the whole what do you want to call it? Legal aspect. There's the whole humane aspect, but at the same token, I'm trying something new, and everybody everybody that talks to me on a regular basis knows it. I don't come on the chats and push it all out there for a few obvious reasons, because I don't have the data. I haven't got things put out there, and some of what I'm doing may be looked or frowned upon as well. So, but the one thing that I do tell everybody, and I tell everybody all the time, this is what I'm doing. If you want to do it, as long as you understand all the risks, you understand all the rewards, you understand what it is, then give her. But I don't want to be responsible for anybody else's success or failures, right? That's they're on theirs and they're on their own. But I have no problem saying, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what works for me. You take your opinion and apply it or not.
That's exactly what he said to me. Exactly verbatim what you said to me when I called you up, asked you about my yard. And what I said, I wouldn't have called you if I didn't trust your opinion, right? I wouldn't hold you liable for something that I said or something I did because I listened to what you said. Is because I trust what you're doing, right?
And I make a pile of mistakes. There's no secret. If anybody wants to see exactly how many mistakes I can make on a single project, I mean, go back and take a look at something as simple as my grafting stand. I go back and I watch that video from time to time. Now, it was one of my first videos I put out there, but I think I was like on version 6 or 7. And you going through, it's like, yeah, that didn't work. Throw that away, start over, right? Unfortunately, that's the same thing with beekeeping. Oh, well, that didn't work. That was a complete failure. Or, I didn't expect that outcome.
Right, but you wouldn't even know that if you didn't try.
Correct.
So that's the thing. So like someone just asked, honeybee compound asked about, the topic's obviously been appy tablets lately. So I look at it like this, like with Apis Biologics. Why did I start trying Apis Biologics? Be honest with you, 100%, because I saw Ian using it, and I, in my mind, said Ian would not pay the extra money it took to use it if it wasn't doing something beneficial for him. So there's that trust factor, right? So that's when I tried it. And then I had the opportunity to become a distributor, and that's why I did that. Same thing with the appy tablets. I didn't know what it was going to do when they were sent to me. I put it on there. I checked the bottom board. Holy crap, there's a bunch of mites down here. And then boom, it took off, right? So that was not even on the radar. But when you look at the company, the parent company that makes the appy tablets, they've been in business since 1960. It doesn't matter if you make fidget spinners. If they've been making fidget spinners since 1960 and they're still in business, it must be one heck of a fidget spinner. You know what I'm saying? You don't stay in business for that length of time by selling products in a market that don't work and they're not effective. It just, they would go out of business.
They must have some of that research that everybody's talking about here, do they not?
I did ask him. He says he's got a Turkish paper. It might even be in Turkish. I told him I would put the whole thing in Google Translate and get it translated if he'll send it to me. So I know he's heading to Florida, but I'm trying to get it. If that's important to people,
but you're gonna have to be careful about that, because what's approved in Turkey is probably not approved here.
Well, I mean, let's compare apples to apples now. Well, Hive Alive has one study done in 2012.
No, I'm not talking about studies. I'm talking about just approvals, just straight approval.
Oh yeah, well, approvals. But I mean, supplement to supplement, the laws on supplements,
If the Turkish thing says, hey, you put this on your colonies to treat mites, you don't want that to be showing up on.
From what I gather,
supplement, isn't it? It's a supplement, not a mite treatment, isn't it?
It's a supplement, yeah.
For the United States, for sure, but it doesn't mean that's the way it's marketed there.
In talking to Mehmet, he said that the rules in Germany and Italy and Europe and Turkey, everywhere has the same rules.
Yeah, we don't have the same over here, unfortunately.
Well, a little bit different. I mean, you have rules for supplements and you have rules for treatments, right? Yep. So, I mean, and that's the distinction. I mean, there's other products that have the same thing in it. Apogard has thymol in it. That was marketed as a treatment. Hive Alive has thymol in it. It's marketed as a supplement. So the appy tablet is marketed as a supplement, but for some reason, I don't know if it's the way that it's distributed with them eating it and consuming it. I don't know. What I know is I put the tablet on my colony and I find dead mites.
Hey, you know what? Let me put my conspiracy hat on. You said, let me put my 10 hat on. Hold on, I got it right here, actually. Okay. So
that's priceless, Phil.
If that has thymol and so does Hive Alive, that's big money versus small money, and you don't want small money to get out there and cut into big money's business.
Well, so I missed what the beginning is. Obviously, somebody's got a problem with the tablets, but is it a
not somebody.
And I don't know. So is it a regulatory thing or is it a political thing?
I think it's a beekeeping politics thing more than anything.
Let me get you caught up.
Here we go. I'm going to get blackballed and banned.
Somebody was asked about it on a live stream, and they just made a comment. They stated their opinion about it, but in their opinion about it, they slighted someone that we love and
somebody we all know.
What'd you do, Bob?
And So, and now we've sort of gotten that. That was the spark that lit the fuse. So that's where
You know what I don't understand? I don't understand this.
Because
And
that beekeeper is the Teflon Don in the YouTube world. It's
I'm gonna pull you.
so
I'm gonna
so
mute
one
Bob real
one
quick.
thing
You don't want
I was gonna say, one thing I know
I'm
is
just trying to catch
nobody.
James up.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody is Teflon. And I'm a firm believer is you reap what you sow. So I have no idea who you guys are talking about, but what I find hard to believe is I find it hard to believe that in today's day and age, beekeepers should be working together. It would be absolutely great to see these supplement companies or treatment companies work together. It would just be something that would work better for the beekeeping industry, the beekeeper, and probably these manufacturing companies. But I do understand there's a business aspect. I do understand there's a political aspect. And unfortunately, anytime that there's money involved, there's the whole financial aspect. So because of the political, the financial, and the business aspects, the ones that end up suffering 9 times out of 10 are the bees, and as a result of that, the beekeepers. So, and maybe that's where I'm a little bit different. I mean, I'll help everybody, whether it be good information. I try not to pass along bad information. I try to listen to everybody. I try to apply what they have. And really, what we need to do is we just need to come together as a beekeeping community and support each other and help everybody figure out the beekeeping problems that we have so that everybody can move forward. And I don't even know what the heck you guys are talking about.
Here, James. Perfectly said.
So,
perfectly said. If that advice was followed, we wouldn't be sitting here chatting what we're chatting about right now.
Yeah, we'd have to come up with a whole nother thing to talk about. What in the world? You guys are
here's what I think we should talk about is what's everybody's plans for next year. I'm excited personally. I'm excited to see what my honey production is going to be next year. I have some big plans over this winter to fix up my extraction line. Those are the things that I'm going to hope to pick a little bit of everybody's brain on here. So I mean, to give you an idea, Alan and Sheldon, they're probably going to be partners with me going forward in 2024. They come with the experience, they come with the knowledge, they come with the enthusiasm of beekeepers. They come with some equipment. I mean, they've got, what is it? I think it's they used to have a dairy farm, so they have the heated dairy tank. I think it's 250 or 300 gallon tank. That's huge, right? They come with the skills to help me fabricate some of this equipment. Like, just the excitement of that and going forward is, for myself, is I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see what the heck we can do. I mean, we saw what I can do here. Take that in times of by 3, and I personally think that's a real recipe for success.
I am looking. I think I've kind of decided that I'm going to look more towards raising queens.
Excellent.
And the reason I say that is because when most of the people north of us are looking for queens, especially the smaller beekeepers, they can't find them. Right? I can't find them. So because, no offense, I mean, it is what it is. It's a business model, right? People that order 1,000 queens get them before the guys that need 10, and that's just economics, right? You're gonna scratch or oil the squeakiest wheel type of deal.
So that's interesting. How are you going to do that, Bob? Are you going to look at castling them? Are you going to look at smaller mating nukes and just leave them in there and then harvest?
Yeah, so I might be able to show it this week if Mehmet brings them like he says he's going to on Thursday. But he's got a really neat queen rearing nuke set up, and so if I get 100 of those, I should be able to breed or graft and have 200 queens going at a time. So that's kind of my goal. And since it's a bigger version of a mini mating nuke, if that makes sense, it's a bigger version, but it's 2 frames or 3 frames on each side, kind of like a double 3 frame, and that will allow me, instead of having to take eggs and larvae and brood frames out like I do with a 2 frame setup, I can shake a bunch of nurse bees and basically shake nurse bees and feed them and let them draw the comb out in their frames, and then drop a cell in, right, that I've grafted.
Right. So we know you can graft. We know you know you've got sign of the bees. What about drone saturation? So you get good mating results and stuff. How are you going to?
So I haven't talked to Sam yet, but he has said in the past that I can also use part of his acreage down there. So he's got his drones in his yard, and I've got drones in my yard, and Andy's got a couple out yards, so we're probably going to split them up so there's a nice little queen bee triangle, so to speak, and hopefully we can get a drone congregation to form in between them. And
have you thought about drone comb in there to actually increase the drone population?
Yes, I'm probably going to start doing knockoff bred story frames or something like that, and start trying to produce it.
So a little tip there, as you know, I do have drone colonies. 50-50 is too much of a draw on the colony for that number of drones. So what I've come to the conclusion is, if you've got a 10 frame hive, that colony can't support much more than 3 or 4. I'd say 4 on the high end drone frames in there. So she'll lay those up relatively quickly. But it's just too much of a task on the colony for the 6 frame of workers to support that number of drones. So it's just food for thought. I'd highly recommend doing that. You know, actually having a colony right around, you know, a drone manufacturing colony, if you will. But I found that worked very, very well for me. And then, of course, you want some different genetics in there. But if you can saturate your mating area with you know, drones from the colony that you want, what I found is I get much better results you know, out of those queens. You know, so you're not limiting them to a specific trait, but you know, if you've got that many more drones out there, your chance of getting the traits that you want are much higher.
Right. So that's going to be the whole goal. I haven't had much luck with those green frames, even when I've waxed them, the drone frames. So I got to figure something out with that to try to get them to work those up. But as far as boxes of drawn comb, you know, at this point I've got enough for what I've got. You know, I've got extra because, you know, when you lose a colony, you end up with a surplus of comb for some reason.
Yep. There you go. What's everybody else's plans?
Charlie's eating a cheese sandwich, or just cheese.
Making a attempt at growing the yard.
What's that?
I'm sorry, what's that, Tim?
Try to make another attempt at growing the yard. That was the plan this year, but it was just a poor season all around.
What was the hang up?
I
Why
guess.
Was a poor season?
Well, the flow was terrible. The drones, they started out good in the spring, but it's just as if they went one round and they completely shut off. As far as drone making queen cells, year before last, we was overwhelmed with every bit of it. But this year, it was just like a deadlock on everything.
Got her. And how's Hannah? Is she still allergic to bee stings?
Yes, sir. Still allergic on that end.
I'll keep her well protected, that's for sure.
Oh, yes, sir. Lord, yeah. We we've talked and discussed about trying to look into that. I guess going to an allergist and seeing what they can do to maybe remedy the problem. Hopefully,
They'll order in some bees so you can get stung.
No,
Well,
it's
we'll
venom,
say
the venom therapy. So I think what they do, I think they start at a very, very small dose, and they work very, very slowly to build up that tolerance, I think, inside the body. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but
I think
I do
Ian's
know a few.
wife had to go through something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a few people that I've known that have gone through it, and it's a whole lot better there now. So,
Well, Tim, what did they finally figure out with Hannah and her food or eating thing problem?
hiatal hernia.
I'll do it.
I have a problem with eating too. I like to eat everything, but I don't think that's the same.
Yeah, it means it just won't go on through. Yeah, that's a bad one.
They got her on some medicine that she's been able to eat much better, but she still has quite a bit of pain and regrets eating a heavier portion when she does. So she got to go back, and I think it's about another month for 6-month checkup, then kind of go off what these medicines that they're trying to reduce the inflammation.
Well, I know what stomach problems are like. Like say, yeah, look after her. Joseph, what are you? How are you sitting this year? What are your plans for next year?
Well, I hope we get more honey next year than we did this year. I got about 30% of what I normally get.
Ooh.
But
just dry? Was it just that dry down there?
I still got about 30 hives. Well, to start with, it was the freeze killed everything off.
Oh yes.
Right when we was getting right in the middle of a good bloom, and freeze killed that, and then we had that big drought. I forgot how many days we went without any rain.
Hard to come back from that one.
Yeah, I was able to sell a few nukes before all that hit. I did pretty decent with that, but just about time everything needed the time it should have had extra boxes on my hives, everything just shut down.
Oh yes. I know I lost out on a lot of honey because I was learning about canola fields, and yeah, I'm used to when the flow is on, I'm used to going out and, putting a box on and, coming back a week later, oh, yep, they're getting close, throw another box on. And with canola, it was the exact opposite. When I went out there and I thought they needed one box, they needed 2 or 3. And I wasn't aware of that. So I learned that the hard way this year, but I probably lost out on, I'm going to say the bees that I had on the canola field there. I think some of you guys saw some of those videos on that. I had 40 hives there, and I probably could have easily doubled my honey production out of those hives without even working too hard at it. So,
yeah. Well, guys, it is 10.
It didn't create a lot of swarming.
Yeah, I didn't lose any for swarms, so I was lucky there. But by the time I got out there, the honey and stuff like that was capped. But I shouldn't say I didn't lose any from swarms. I think there was 5 or 6 that superseded the queen. So there was a queen in there afterwards. She wasn't the original one, but most of those queens that were superseded were queens that I would have changed out this year anyways. So I just took that as a win.
Hey, Bob, before we go,
Yep.
One last word, all right?
Final word by Todd.
This is for everybody that may not want to read studies. They're very easy to read. So first of all, the very first paragraph is called the abstract. The abstract's going to tell you what this study is about. Skip the middle and go all the way to the end. The end, it's titled results, so it's going to tell you what the study did. If you're curious about the study, you could kind of go into the middle where there's methods and I forgot methods and something else. So that will tell you what the study did or what they wanted to do. the methods they use, the products they use, what the control was like. So for anybody that wants to read studies, don't be scared of them. You can really get away with everything if you just read the very top paragraph, which is the abstract, and the bottom results. Those two things, you'll find out everything that was involved in the study, at least results wise. And like I said, don't be scared. It's not that it's real simple to understand. So that's all I had to say. And I apologize to anybody that I may have offended tonight.
We don't apologize.
I really am going to go back and watch the beginning of this video because I missed out.
Todd, I have to agree with you.
Minutes in. I got to work at 8:30 and I got called into an HR meeting that ended at 3:00, and it was a working lunch, and I almost just exploded in the meeting. HR stuff, 5 hours, 6 hours.
Todd, I got to agree with you. I was going to tell you earlier, that's why in the medical field they call it a study, or call the study, they call it a practice of medicine.
Right.
Yeah. Practice.
Right.
Yeah. Practice.
I practice medicine.
Right.
And I really missed out on something.
Yeah, you did, I think.
All right.
So for everybody on here and everybody listening, stay out of trouble.
Right.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
All right, guys.
Hey, I'm married. I stay in trouble.
That's right.
Me both. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call this one for this evening. Thanks for everybody, joining in, and definitely it was a fiery chat tonight. Thanks, Todd. No,
Great job, Todd. Great job.
Todd.
and we appreciate all you guys watching and subscribing to everybody's channels and everything else. And we'll see you guys on the next live.
Good night, everyone. Be nice.
Good night.